What's up, guys? Ben here, bringing you another video today. Week 2 of the Major 2 qualifiers kicks off on Friday. I figured I'd get my predictions out to you today. So let's dive in on who I have winning the matchups on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All right, so week 1 for us is a mixed bag, I would say, but I think we're on pace to do a better job for this week, so let's dive in. First off, we got Florida versus New York, and I think New York's going to win. It's just a case of how many maps do we think Florida is going to take in this series? Honestly, I am going to say 0. I think this is just a tough matchup for Florida because they're playing another good search team. And when this happens, it's pretty much a recipe for them to go down 0-2. And at that point, either winning the control and bowing out, or you're getting 3-0'd. So that is my prediction, and we'll move on. Next up, we have Optic Texas versus Seattle. And I think I'm going to go with Optic in this one. You know, the thing with Seattle is they're just really poor online. They're also not a great search team. Like, even if this series went to 5, I don't even think I would have Seattle in that pick. I'm also trying to think about like vetoes in this series, and Seattle's pretty much gotten rid of Hydro in every series that they played, but they've also picked Hotel in a good number of them. And I think picking Hotel against Optic is probably not a good idea. And then Optic's been getting rid of Embassy so far in this major, at least in the one matchup they played on Sunday against Boston. So, you know, Embassy I can give to Seattle, like if we were to get that map, either first or fourth. But I think I'm going to give Optic 3-1 just because I think that even with Optic being behind in search, I think they're just going to be a little more well-rounded, and I can't count Seattle to win matches online against teams like this, so there you go. All right, next up we have Toronto versus LA Thieves. I'm curious what the crowd has them. Toronto favored, Thieves 33%. That seems about right in this matchup. Toronto's coming in on very good form. Thieves obviously not so much, and probably really need to win this game. I think for Thieves, they're just not a good situational search team right now. The respawn is not too bad, but it's also not too great. It's just a question of, for me, I have Toronto winning this one. It's just a question of how many maps I want to give Thieves. I'm just trying to think about what Toronto has done in terms of vetoes in the past and what kind of maps we might be seeing in here. Taking a look, it looks like Toronto's been vetoing Hydro recently in matches in Hardpoint, and then on the front for LA Thieves, they also got rid of Hydro in their last match. Fortress a lot in previous matches, including the major. They got rid of Hotel against New York. So I still think maybe, do I spot Thieves like an Acelius controller or something like that? I'm just trying to think. Let's say we do. We're going to give them a 3-1. Gentleman's 3-1 there. But I think all of these Friday series for me, I think New York and Toronto are probably strong favorites. This one's definitely more of a toss-up favoring Optic, but I feel like I might go 3-0 in this day. We'll see. All right, next up we have Vegas versus Boston Breach. A fun matchup. The people have this as a pick'em. I think it's because Vegas beat Boston at the major. You know, the only thing I'll say about this matchup is I don't feel great about Vegas against any respawns versus Boston. And if Vegas is going to win this, there's probably going to be through the 2-3-5 path, which is doable because I don't think that Boston actually, all things considered, is a great control team. So it's a question in my mind. Do I pick Boston to get this done in like 3-4 maps, or do I take Vegas to do this in 5? All right, I think what I'm going to do, actually, instead of going with either option, is I think we're going to pick Vegas 3-1. We're going to go with a crazy upset. We're going to go against the grain on this one because I'm thinking that Vegas is starting to like turn a quarter and respawn a little, especially Hardpoint. I don't think about control. I think that's probably still a ways away for them, but I don't know with this Boston team, man. But I'm gonna pick the upset here. I'll probably look like a moron doing it, but screw it, you know. Let's try something different. All right, next up we got the Thieves versus the London Royal Ravens, and I assume the money is definitely, and the picks are definitely on the Thieves in this one. I got them winning 3-0. I love Asim, and I think he's doing a good job at London, but even with them bringing Paul back in, I just don't see it. For this London team, I think they're destined to be the 12th team in this major cycle, and I can't trust them to win any maps unless Asim's dropping like 50 like it did in 8s last night. All right, we got 2 more matchups coming up. Obviously, you get 4 on Saturdays. We got Optic Texas versus the Toronto Ultra. A fun matchup. You know that Eli, AK Stanley, and Scrappy are going to get up for this one. And for the XEO boys, the XEO plus Dashy crew, they'll be having a little bit more match stuff under their belt past, you know, their one match they played last Sunday. Unfortunately for Optic, I just think Toronto is the better overall team right now, and I think they're going to get humbled a little bit, the Optic boys, because Toronto is much farther ahead than them in Search and Destroy, in Control, in a couple of hardpoint maps. I think Optic will keep it competitive. I think the maps will be close. based on skill. But I just think that Toronto is in a better position right now. And this will be a really good learning experience for Optic. But if they win this match and Optic goes 2-0 this weekend, sky's the limit, I think, for the fan base. I think people are going to be super delusional in my Twitch chats after this, but let's see what happens. And then last up, our final match, 7:30 on Saturday, we have Atlanta FaZe versus the Minnesota Rocker. And the picks, I think, are very heavily going to be on FaZe. And unfortunately for the Rocker boys, they are a slow starting team. And if you do that against FaZe, you're going to get in trouble. And I got them getting a 3-0. FaZe look pretty good right now. The Rocker team does not get off to good starts. And I think with FaZe being as good as they are in search, like we see with a lot of matches, I think them and Toronto, New York are going to play. They're able to probably put this series away pretty early on. All right, we're getting to Sunday right now. So if you look in the top right-hand corner of your screen, you'll see those matchups. We got Vegas versus the London squad. I'm going to give the London boys a map here, but I got Vegas getting it done. I'm picking Vegas to go 2-0 this week. So Clay, Don, Teach, and Prolu, please do not let me down. I got you all on the ascendancy this week. Again, I can't trust London to win series as mid as Vegas is at a map and mode like Control. I just don't think this London team is good right now. I think they're just going through the motions. So I got Vegas, and I'm curious to see what the fans are thinking. Strong heavy on Vegas. I'm not surprised, although they've never, at least in the last 5 matchups, the Vegas organization has never beaten London. So interesting fact there. All right, this is a fun one. Rocker versus the Los Angeles Guerrillas. I haven't picked any game 5ers yet, and I think this is the one I'm going to pick. I assume it's pretty even in terms of what people are thinking across the board. And it looks like LAG's recently has never beaten Rocker, obviously, across a different bunch of teams, but that's interesting. The difficulty for Minnesota in this is looks like a really good respawn team, but search, they can't be trusted. So the question I have here is, can LAG win this before we get to map 5, or are Rocker going to be icy in map 5? I'm actually going to take the Rocker in this one 3-2. I think we're going to see another Jekyll and Hyde week. And from Minnesota, and for the LAG boys, I need to see more of the non-hardpoint game mode before I feel good about this team winning gritty series like this. But if last weekend is indicative of what we're going to see from the LAG squad, they might be really good at Major 3. If they don't make any changes, they keep rolling with the punches, Exceed and Joe Deceives keep coming in with that energy. I'm Assault doing this thing at times. Same with Alec. I kind of like this team long term, but I think the Rocker team, as slow starters as they have been in series, they've also been really good in games 4 and 5. So I think they can get this one at the death. And then I think we have what I think is the marquee match of the weekend. Potentially, I think a matchup we could see, in winners finals or losers finals or grand finals at Major 2, because I think these are 2 of the top 3 teams. We got Atlanta FaZe versus New York. I was going to say I thought it was going to be more of a pick 'em, but people are really in on FaZe on this one. So it's an interesting series because I'm just trying to think about vetoes in this one. I think New York have recently, or including the Major, got rid of Embassy a lot. I don't think that FaZe is going to play them on Fortress. So we might see this weird, maybe Mercado Hydro series or Mercado Hotel, which I think kind of makes the hardpoints a little bit of a toss-up in this one. FaZe's pretty good at Hotel. They're 3-1. New York is 4-3 on Hotel. Hydro, I know FaZe is 1-2, and New York is 1-0. But I think the hardpoints are pretty even across the board. S&D will be a fun one as well. New York generally get rid of Asilo, although they did get rid of Fortress Control in their last match against Thieves. I think FaZe probably don't want to play this team or really play any Fortress Control because it's sort of a straight up map, but you never really know with Atlanta FaZe. They don't necessarily kind of run with auto picks. And if you look at their sort of map veto kind of breakdown, if we were to go to breaking point, you would see that they're all over the place in S&D and Control and Hardpoint on what they banned. In their last matchup against Seattle, they got rid of Asilo S&D. So this could be fun. I mean, we could see another kind of Mercado S&D, which I don't really like New York versus FaZe on that one because of how good Abizi is. So it's just a question of in a game 5, who do I trust more between these two teams? Because I think it's a little bit of a distance one. I think that the way that FaZe look in search right now, I probably need to lean towards them, but both of these are elite search teams. So I'm just going to say FaZe on this one, but this one can really go either way for me. I think these are 2 of your 3, again, your 2 of your 3 best teams. I think these teams are going to go deep at Major 2. And when we get to, I think, this point, we talk about teams like this that are, fully kind of in the meta. They're not Optic trying to chase, and we're not really sure kind of where they're at as a team in terms of prep. Like these teams are, you know, two of the teams that have been practicing the most. You know, they were getting on early for the patch. Like they are in a good spot. It then comes down to the situational map and veto stuff. And FaZe is a little bit unpredictable. New York's a little more predictable. We'll see what we get, but it could be indicative of what we see down the line with these teams, but should be a fun one to close out the weekend. So yeah, those are my picks for the weekend. I'm actually going to go ahead and lock these in on the website. I would say for me that I may change these throughout the weekend, especially Minnesota playing on Saturday, Sunday. The Thieves against Toronto might maybe influence second series conversation. They play against London, but I feel much better about these picks than I did last weekend. Week ones are really hard, especially after a patch, because it's just hard to know kind of where teams are at with their map pools, the comfortability. I think it was also like a weird practice situation for a number of teams last week. Like Seattle didn't play a lot. Optic obviously was dealing all their stuff. So Rookie won last week, but I feel better on this week because I need to catch up in those breaking point predictions. I don't know if you've seen, I got a little bit of work to do to catch up there. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of these picks. Like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more. I think this weekend, my current plan at the moment when I'm recording this video is to do a little bit of a like Optic kind of deeper dive, like put on a little bit of a general manager hat and put my thoughts on their current team and where they kind of need to go over the next few months as my Friday video. And then Saturday, we're going to do a little bit of a Q&A. I'm going to tweet out probably today and get some questions for that and record that and get that up for you this weekend. So let me know what you guys think, and we'll see you guys on the next one.